What hour your clock strikes here? It's always Halloween, and I'm always your haunted host, Lucé Tomlin-Brenner. Welcome to me on video from the Podclaws. Today, I thought it would be fun to read a little from Ray Bradbury's The Halloween Tree, because we do talk about it very often on the podcast. So let's get into the first chapter together today. So I really love this cover. It's like multiple things at once. I don't know what they call that, but it's like, it's people standing, but then it's also a skull. It's very fun. I got this at Borders Books when I was a kid, and I've loved it ever since. Has some really cool illustrations in it, and quite a fantastic dedication as well. With love for Madame Manha Garot d'Ambalsley. Met 27 years ago in the graveyard at midnight on the island of Janitzio at Lake Pazucaro. Words I never say clearly. Lake Pazucaro, Mexico, and remembered on each anniversary of Day of the Dead. Cute. Chapter 1. It was a small town by a small river and a small lake in a small northern part of a Midwest state. There wasn't so much wilderness around that you couldn't see the town, but on the other hand, there wasn't so much town that you couldn't see and feel and touch the smell of wilderness. The town was full of trees and the dry grass and dead flowers now that autumn was here, and full of fences to walk on and sidewalks to skate on and a large ravine to tumble in and yell across. And the town was full of boys, and it was the afternoon of Halloween, and all the houses shut against a cool wind, and the town full of cold sunlight, but suddenly the day was gone. Night came out from under each tree and spread. Behind the doors of all the houses there was a scurry of mouse feet, muted cries, flickerings of light. Behind the door Tom Skeleton, aged 13, stopped and listened. The wind outside nestled in the tree. Let's try that again. The wind outside nested in each tree, prowled the sidewalks in invisible treads like unseen cats. Tom Skeleton shivered. Anyone could see that the wind was a special wind this night, and the darkness took on a special feel because it was All Hallows Eve. Everything seemed cut from soft black velvet or gold or orange. Smoke panted up out of 1,000 chimneys like the plumes of funeral parades. From kitchen windows drifted 2 pumpkin smells, gourds being cut, pies being baked. The cries beyond the locked doors grew more exasperated as shadows of boys flew by windows. Half-dressed boys, grease paint on their cheeks, here a hunchback, there a medium-sized giant. Attics were still being rummaged, old locks broken, old steamer chest disemboweled for costumes. Tom Skeleton put on his bones. He grinned at the spinal cord, the rib cage, the kneecaps, stitched white on black cotton. Lucky, he thought. What a name you've got, Tom Skeleton. Great for Halloween. Everyone calls you a skeleton. So what do you wear? There's like one E is italicized. Skeleton. So what do you wear? Bones. Wham! 8 front doors banged shut. 8 boys made a series of beautiful leaps over flower pots, rails, dead ferns, bushes, landing on their own dry, starched front lawns. Galloping, rushing, they seized a final sheet, adjusted a last mask, tugged at a strange mushroom cap in their wigs, shouting at the way the wind took them along, helped their running, glad of the wind, or cursing boys cursed as masks fell off or hung sideways or stuffed up their noses with a muslin smell like a dog's hot breath. Or just letting the sheer exhilaration of being alive and out on this night pull their lungs in the shape of their throats into a yell and a yell and a yell. 8 boys collided at one intersection. Here I am, witch, Ape man, skeleton, said Tom, hilarious inside his bones. Gargoyle. Beggar. I thought that said badger at first. A good Halloween costume, a very underrated Halloween costume, the badger. Beggar. Mr. Death himself. Bang! They all shook from their concussions. The word is split on the page and it confused me. Bang! They all shook back from their concussions, all happy, fouled, and tangled under a street lamp corner. The swaying electric lamp belled in the wind like a cathedral bell. Belled in the wind like a cathedral bell. The swaying electric lamp belled in the wind like a cathedral bell. I think it says... He's a smart guy, Ray Bradbury. I'm not going to question him. I don't know how I feel about the word bell being in the sentence twice. That's my own commentary. The bricks of the street became planks of a drunken ship, all tilted and foundered with dark and light. Behind each mask was a boy. Who's that? Tom Skeleton pointed. Won't tell. It's a secret, cried the witch, disguising his voice. Everyone laughed. Who's that? Mummy, cried the boy inside the ancient yellowed wrappings, like an immense cigar stalking the night street. And who's... No time, someone hidden behind yet another mystery of muslin and paint. It's time for trick or treat. Yeah! Shrieking, wailing, full of banshee mirth, they ran and on everything except sidewalks, going up into the air, over bushes and down almost upon yipping dogs. But in the middle of running, laughing, barking, suddenly, as if a great hand of night and wind and smelling something wrong stopped them, they stopped. 6, 7, 8. That can't be. Count again. 4, 5, 6. There should be 9 of us. Someone's missing. They sniffed each other like fearful beasts. Pipkin's not here. How did they know? They were all hidden behind masks, and yet, they could feel his absence. Pipkin! He never missed a Halloween in a zillion years. Oh, boy, this is awful. Come on. In one vast swerve, one dog-like trot, one ramble, they circled around and down the middle of cobbled brick streets, blown like leaves before a storm. Here's his place. They pulled to a halt. There was Pipkin's house, but not enough pumpkins in the windows, not enough corn chalks on the porch, not enough spooks peering out through the dark glass in the high upstairs tower rooms. Gosh, someone said, what if Pipkin's sick? It wouldn't be Halloween without Pipkin. No, not Halloween, they moaned. And someone threw a crabapple at Pipkin's front door. It made a small thump. Thrump. Thrump. Like a rabbit kicking the wood. They waited, sad for no reason, lost for no reason. The thought of Pipkin and Halloween. That might be a rotten pumpkin with a dead candle in it. If Pipkin wasn't there. Come on, Pipkin, come out and save the night. Should we read one more? I think we shall. Chapter 2. Another frightful mask. Why were they waiting, afraid for one small boy? Because Joe Pipkin was the greatest boy who ever lived. Dramatic. Joe Pipkin was the greatest boy who ever lived, the grandest boy who ever fell out of the tree and laughed at the joke, the finest boy who ever raced around the track, winning and then seeing his friends a mile back somewhere stumbled and fell, waiting for them to catch up and joined breast and breast, breaking the winner's tape. The jolliest boy who ever hunted out all the haunted houses in town, which are hard to find, and came back to report on them and take all the kids to ramble through the basements and scramble up the ivy outside bricks and shout down chimneys and make water off the roofs, hooting and chimpanzee dancing and ape bellowing. The day Joe Pipkin was born, all the orange crush and Nehi soda bottles in the world fizzed over, and joyful bees swarmed on countrysides to sting maiden ladies. Oh boy. On his birthdays, the lake pulled out from the shore in midsummer and ran back with a tidal wave of boys, a big leap of bodies and down crash of laughs. Dawns lying in bed, you heard a bird peck at the window. Pipkin. You stuck your head out into the snow water clear summer morning air. There, in the dew on the lawn, rabbit prints showed where just a moment ago not a dozen rabbits but one rabbit had circled and crisscrossed in a glory of life and exultation, bounding hedges, clipping ferns, tromping clover. It resembled the switch yards down at the rail depot, a million tracks in the grass, but no, Pipkin. And here he rose up like a wild sunflower in the garden, his great round face burned with fresh sun. His eyes flashed the Morse code signals. Hurry up, it's almost over. What? Today, now, 6 a.m., dive down, wade in it. Or, this summer, before you know it, bang, it's gone, quick. And he sank away in sunflowers to come up all onions. Pipkin, oh dear Pipkin, finest and loveliest of boys. How he ran so fast, no one knew. His tennis shoes were ancient. They were colored green of forests jogged through, brown from old harvest trudges through September. A year back, a tar-stained... trudges through September a year back. Wait, let's take it back. How he ran so fast, no one knew. His tennis shoes were ancient. They were colored green of forests jogged through, brown from old harvest trudges through September a year back, tar-stained from sprints along the docks and beaches where the coal barges came in, yellow from careless dogs, splinter-filled from climbing wood fences. His clothes were scarecrow clothes, worn by Pipkin's dogs all night, loaned to them for strolls through the town, with chew marks along the cuffs and fall marks on the seat. His hair was a great hedgehog bristle of bright brown blonde daggers sticking in all directions. His ears, pure peach. His ears, pure peach fuzz. His hands, mittened with dust and all the good smells of Airedales and peppermint and stolen peaches from far country orchards. Orchards? This is a word I've said many times, and yet here I am, unable to say orchards. Pipkin, an assemblage of speeds, smells, textures, a cross-section of all the boys who ever ran, fell, got up, and ran again. No one in all the years had ever seen him sitting still. He was hard to remember in school, in one seat for an hour. He was the last one in the schoolhouse and the first who exploded out when the bell ended the day. Pipkin, sweet Pipkin, who yodeled and played the kazoo and hated girls more than all the other boys in the gang combined. Okay, Pipkin, slow your roll. Pipkin, whose arm around your shoulder and secret whisper of great doings this day protected you from the world. Pipkin. God got up early just to see Pipkin come out of his house, like one of those people on a weather clock. And the weather was always fine where Pipkin was. Oh, Pipkin. They stood in front of his house. Any moment now that door would open wide. Pipkin would jump out in a blast of fire and smoke, and Halloween would really begin. Come on, Joe. Oh, Pipkin, come on, he whispered. Nope. How about, let's say it like this. Come on, Joe. Oh, Pipkin, they whispered. Come on. And that's the end of chapter 2, where I think we're going to leave it today. Come back for another reading tomorrow. We're going to read the whole book together before Halloween. How does that sound? It will be unedited and very silly and fun. If you want highly produced, highly edited, extraordinarily practiced, and perfect episodes of anything, then listen to the podcast. It's always Halloween. Wherever fine podcasts are sold. Follow us on Instagram. It's always Halloween Podcast. Thanks for sticking around. See you soon. Pipkin. Oh, Pipkin.